Greetings here in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about this new record from Jack White entitled Entering Heaven Alive. He released that on July 22nd. It's his fifth solo outing, and it's his follow-up to Fear of the Dawn, which he released back on April 8th. And here we have the second of two records that were announced by Jack before the year began, and it's been quite a year for him. I'm really impressed with both of these projects. If you're going to make me pick one, though, I think I'm going to take Entering Heaven Alive over Fear of the Dawn. And frankly, I'm going to argue that Entering Heaven Alive is Jack's best solo work to date. I just love stylistically what he's doing on this record. I really like the subtle ways that it acts as a companion piece to Fear of the Dawn, especially because the style of those records very different. And I really like the fact that he chose to release Entering Heaven Alive after Fear of the Dawn. Now, I don't think he really considered this, but there's maybe like a 1 or 2% chance, because Jack White does like to mess with us. If you own a copy of Lazaretto, and if you're as dense as I am, it took you about 5 minutes to realize what was going on with that record the first time that you spin it. It starts from inside to out. It doesn't do the traditional outside to in. So I don't think that Jack did that just to do something fun and different. And you know, if he set out to mess with anybody, at least you got me on that. So yeah, I think that Jack he puts a modicum of thought into stuff like that from time to time, I believe. And in my experience, what I really like about the way that these records were released is that all of these fans, this camp of people that I know, that if they had their way, Jack White would just make garage rock for the rest of his life. But you get 4 years between Boarding House Reach and Fear of the Dawn, and both of those records stylistically very different from anything that I feel Jack has done before. And so the garage rock campers, so to speak, you know, I think that they were just wanting something a little more familiar when Fear of the Dawn was released. And so with Entering Heaven Alive, I think those fans are going to get that. But what I love about this record is that it's navigating a ton of new territory, really identifying why Jack is such a great songwriter, you know, working with all of this stuff that it sounds, again, so familiar. It sounds like he's been there before, but he's finding a way to create a new journey for us. And it makes this record, and it makes him just so exceptional as an artist, in my opinion. And stylistically, I like the way that this record, it's definitely an Americana and folk record more than anything, but I think its foundation lies in alternative rock and roll still. You can feel the way that influence is driving the sound of this record. And there's a bunch of other fun influences as well play here. A little bit of chamber pop. There's some moments where I really feel the Beatles and the Beach Boys at play. One particular song reminds me of Zeppelin quite a bit. This is a really fun experience. 11 songs, 40 minutes. Jack White makes amazing albums. If there's anybody out there that knows how to not only just write songs but put them together to make just a fun, cohesive experience, it's this man right here, and I appreciate him for that. A tip from you to me is going to kick this thing off. I love the brief intro, and then you just get this wonderful acoustic guitar and piano build in the track. It's really got this thick bass tone as well that's driving the song, and I love that, especially with the Americana influence at play on this record. I think that thick bass tone is something that complements that style of music really well. And this song, you talk about previous influences, and I feel a little bit of the White Stripes on this song, especially with what they were doing on Get Behind Me, Satan. So I like the way that this thing kicks off this experience. All Along the Way is going to be your second song, one of my favorites on this record. I love that alternative rock Americana feel, and I think that this particular track really identifies that concept that I was trying to identify there. Like the feel of the acoustic guitar, got that great bass element as well. And then there's a very interesting breakdown on this track where this song ventures into reggae territory almost, and then comes right back, and it's all very organic. It seems very natural. It's a pretty fun element to this song. Help Me Along, your third track, has got this bouncy psychedelic chamber pop feel, and this is where, I immediately started to feel that influence of the Beatles and the Beach Boys on this record. Love Is Selfish is your fourth track, and I didn't mention it, but big lots of love songs. I mean, this is a record of love songs. It's also something that Jack doesn't do very often, so I like that that's at work here. Most of these songs reflect fondly on love. This particular track, though, is not choosing to do so. I like the big build in the acoustic intro on this song, though, and the chorus. I like the way that there's just this very gentle percussion that gets ushered in. It's really nice. Got a dark ballad that There's this chord progression that I'm not going to say that it's ripping off Zeppelin, but it really reminded me of Bron Your R, this turnaround on the chord progression. And it's a cool moment in the song. I like the influence there. And, Jack White talks about it. He talks about how it's just such a good example that he uses. It's music, time. It's like this big river that's moving along, and Jack has just kind of just jumped right into it, kept flowing with it. So that song, I think, is a really good example of conceptually what he's trying to identify there, as far as the way that different artists are influenced by other artists. I've Got You Surrounded is your fifth song. I love the sludgy bass on this song, and especially when it's contrasted with this great bright guitar riff, great piano as well at play here. And this song it's somewhere between jazz and blues in Jack White's world. I love what's going on this song. Queen of the Bees, your sixth song, getting some more fun, unique instrumentation, xylophone driven track. At least, I think that's what I think is at work here. It combines pop rock, jazz, I feel like the influence of late 50s, early 60s pop, even mod rock a little bit, is driving the influence of this track. There's this great little organ part on the song, just another fun track. A Tree on Fire from Within is one of the two highlights on this record, in my opinion, for sure. I love the exchange between the piano and the bass on this record. It's something that you don't see this instrumental play at work very often, and so I really love that. I love the driving Americana feel of the track. Really an exceptional piece of writing from Jack. I think easily one of his best songs to date, in my opinion, with any outfit that he's worked on. I really am a fan of that. If I Die Tomorrow is your eighth song, acoustic driven track. I really like the classic rock feel of this song, and I love the flute element that's incorporated into it as well. Please God, Don't Tell Anybody, or Don't Tell Anyone is your ninth song, excuse me. More of that like 50s, late 50s, early 60s rock, and a bit more of the mod influence as well here. Small Faces, The Who. There's definitely a bit of a psychedelic feel on this song, and I like the piano that's at play here. It's got a barroom feel. It's just a bunch of fun instrumentation on that track. A Madman from Manhattan, your penultimate track, is your other highlight on this record, the second of the two. I really just love the flamenco jazz feel of this track, and it settles into a really nice groove where that jazz element takes over. There's folk rock textures that are also built into this song. Really just another amazing moment from Jack. And then Taking Me Back Gently is an acoustic folk take on Taking Me Back, which kicked off Fear the Dawn. So I like the way that these tracks basically bookend these two records. And again, that subtle companionship that's there, I think is working really nicely. But Taking Me Back Gently is going to have this really just gentle folk and polka feel to it. I like the strings that are incorporated into the song, a little more piano here, a little more of that barroom feel, but just a really fun project that, like I said, I think that all fans of Jack White are going to be pleased with this record. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of division as far as the general opinion of this album. So I hope you enjoyed this record. We're going to vinyl please this thing for sure. Hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.